There's a lie that we have been told repeatedly by society. Maybe even somebody that's close to you has told you this lie. What is it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm super, super excited to talk to you about this. I have found it to be true in my own life. And so I'm going to share it with you guys because it's something that I've learned through my life coaching certification course. Um, for those of you who don't know me, welcome to Created for This. I'm Danielle Roberts, and I am an almost certified life coach and an essential oils educator who teaches women about using essential oils for wellness and both specifically emotional wellness, but also physical wellness as well. So, getting back to the lie. The lie is what Dr. Chris Thurman in his book, The Lies We Believe, calls the have it all lie. You can't see me unless you're watching my YouTube video, but I'm using air quotes. So this is the lie that I have been told my whole life. If you just put your mind to it, you'll be able to do whatever you want. Or if you work hard enough, you can do whatever you want, or you can be whatever you want. And it's the lie that is really, really super prevalent among certain people right now in influential spaces that are really influencing those of us in this Christian workspace or in the business world and entrepreneur world in general. And I want to talk through this before you get all like you're ready to turn off the podcast and just close down. So the lie that we can have it all, Dr. Thurman says, is a destructive decision that cheapens life, makes us anxiously live for the future rather than appreciate and enjoy the present. We can realize that to say yes to one thing in life is actually a choice to simultaneously say no to something else. We can learn to be content with little so we gratefully receive enough as a feast. Now, here's the thing with the lie that we believe. We have heard repeatedly that if we just work hard enough or if we do enough, we can have it all. If we look at the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, we see how King Solomon, who's the author, had all of the things. He had the gold, he had the pearls, he had the people, he had the wives, he had all the money, but he wasn't content. And we see that recurring theme throughout the book of Ecclesiastes. So here's this man who's got it all, and yet he is not happy. So it's just so interesting to me that there is this desire to have it all. And then for people to continuously chase after that. I think it was also in Ecclesiastes where Solomon had said that if you chase after wealth, it's like chasing after the wind. And that just goes to show you how he felt about things, how he realized there was the more important things in life that he had. He had things that he valued, and then he called the rest all vanity. So when we truly recognize what God's created for us, it changes our perspective of who we are and what our life's purpose is. We can be content with the things that we have, and then also realize that sometimes by making a choice to say yes to something and saying no to other things will allow us to thrive with where we're at. I had to learn this personally, as there are things, I've always considered myself somebody that's got high capacity. So I'm able to do a lot, and There are people who are like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how you do all this stuff because I could not do all this stuff. Well, I don't do it all. And that's the thing. I'm not Superwoman at all. There are so many things that I could do, but I'm not doing. And that's really, it's come down to choices. It's come down to the choices that I have made to specifically say yes or no to things. And that's really, really important when we start living the truth about this lie and saying, no, we can't have it all. If we had it all, it would destroy everything. So when we align with Jesus and we allow him to be our purpose and the thing that we continuously go back to, and when we say yes to the things that align with our purpose, our life purpose, and our vision and our values, we know that what we're saying yes to is going to be the best thing, which is so important and so good, right? It gives us so much freedom to walk in the ways that we know are true and real. And with that freedom comes the ability to say no to certain things. There are so many things that I have said no to that I realize that they just were not the right thing. They were not the right fit. They were not the right thing for the time. And some things I've said no to are just not the right things for right now. That's not saying no forever, but it's saying that these things will eventually happen, or maybe not. Maybe there's a time that it'll say yes, that I can say yes to it. Like I've waited 3 years, 4 years to become a life coach, a certified life coach. And I had to say no to it for so long because I knew it wasn't the right time, because I couldn't adequately put all of my attention on that I needed to put on it. And so when we start saying no to things, we're able to align with what Jesus has for us. It means that you really have to be clear on what your values are and what your vision is. And so let's talk about values for a second. What are your values? Do you know what your values are? For me, one of my values is integrity. I also value hard work. I value responsibility. I value authenticity. And all those things are for my business. I value them in real life, in my family life. I'll teach my kids, like, you need to be respectful. You need to be responsible for things. I also value being on time. And so that comes up in both business and life because I want us to be on time for things. And the ability to do that has come because I've learned what makes a difference and makes things matter in my life. So I'm not choosing things that are going to be just chasing after the wind or just extra. And I've really had to be content with where I am because I know that God has placed me here for this purpose and this time. My book is called Created for This. My devotional book is called Created for This. And the devotional book is basically the stance that we were created to be business owners. We were created to be bringing glory to God through what he has us in right now. And that's why I also called this podcast Created for This, because it's the fact that we were created for this, to bring God glory, to do this right at this second, and to really allow God to use where we are at right now for his glory and his purpose. So having it all is not where we should be. We should be focusing on what's important to us right here, right now, so that we know how to live out life to the fullest. and how we know how to thrive and flourish and where we're at, both in life and business. The other thing that I wanted to say is that just as we saw with Solomon, having it all is never enough. Having it all leads you to continuously be on that spinning hamster wheel and feeling like there's always got to be more, 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 more. And in his book, Dr. Thurman actually tells the story about a man who was coming to him for counseling. He's a counselor. He tells the story about how the man comes to him and he's just not happy at all. From the outside, it looks great because he's got the big house, he's got the boat, he's got the vacation house, he's got this, that, and the other thing, the fancy cars, everything. And this man is so unhappy because he quote unquote has it all, but he still wants more, or his wife wants more. And so together he's feeling this weight because having it all is not enough. And it's just wanting more and needing more and then needing to work more to pay for the things. And so it just is this vicious cycle that people get in when they have it all. And that's really, I want you to examine where you're at. I want you to examine what you're thinking, where you're at with this. Because one of the verses that I memorized when I was younger, 1 Timothy 6:6-11, says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." And verse 11 says, "But you, man of God," speaking to Timothy, "flee from all of this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness." So this is a verse that I memorized way back in high school when I was having a really hard time being content with where I was and what I was doing, because I always was focused on the future. Like I was ready for college, I was ready to get married, I was ready for this, that, and the other thing. In high school, y'all, I was not ready for college and marriage in high school. So this was a verse, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." This was a verse that was very, very much on my wall, very much something I meditated on. And I'm going to encourage you, if you do not have this verse memorized, I want you to memorize it. So verse 6, 1 Timothy 6:6. The rest of the verses are applicable if this is something that you deal with, if this is something that you are having a hard time with. But I want to point out something. So it's not saying that money is bad. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." And then it talks about people eager for money have wandered from the faith. So when we talk about abundance and we talk about biblical abundance, that's not saying that money is a bad thing. Okay? I just want to point that out because I know there's some people that are like, "Hey, money, like money's good," and I'm totally in agreement with you if it's not being loved and if there's not people leaving the faith because of the money. So that is the lie that I want you to really contemplate and take time to think about this today, because it's really changed the way that I've looked at things and really made me think about how I see doing it all or having it all, and that superwoman feeling that people believe that I should have, or you should have, or we should be able to do it all, which is just, it's not real, it's not true. And so think about your values, think about what it is in your vision statements that you are focusing on, and start living according to those. Start living according to the calling that God has placed on your life. And that is where you'll be able to walk in your freedom that God has given you through his death on the cross and through his resurrection and taking away our sins, and through really living in your purpose and your calling, and then being content with where you are at. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, of course, I'm always open for them. You can go to my website and drop me a note, and I will get back to you. And that's either there, or Instagram is a great way to get a hold of me. My website is Danielle M for Marie Roberts.com, and then my Instagram is Danielle M Roberts. So I would love to hear from you if this has been helpful, or if you have questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.